Sunrise. Waves painted by the early light lap the shoreline as if sounding the heartbeat of nature. As morning gives way to the rising sun, the land awakens. So begins another day in an extraordinary place, Alaska's Kenai Peninsula. The Kenai Peninsula is one of Alaska's most popular destinations. It's known worldwide for trophy king salmon, unequaled natural beauty, and for the colorful outgoing Alaskans who call the Kenai home. From Hope to Homer, Seldovia to Seward, we'll explore Alaska's Kenai Peninsula. The Kenai Peninsula is located in south-central Alaska. If you drive to Alaska, the Kenai Peninsula is literally the end of the road. It's roughly the size of Ireland and is home to around 45,000 people. Popular Kenai Peninsula destinations include Seward, Soldotna, Kenai, Ninilchik, Clam Gulch, Homer, Seldovia, Hope, and many points in between. The Kenai Peninsula has a diverse population. Some live in remote wilderness cabins. Others enjoy modern conveniences, shopping, and fast food. All, however, are connected to nature in ways few would dream of. They live in the shadow of active volcanoes. They share the land with wild animals. Peninsula residents live in a land steeped in history, a land still very much a frontier. The name Kenai comes from the Kenaitze Athabascan Indians, who have lived in the area since about 500 A.D. The first native people discovered a bounty of salmon, abundant game, and a moderate maritime climate, the same qualities which attract visitors and residents today. Historic Russian Orthodox churches like this one at Ninilchik are a link with the past and continue to serve the spiritual needs of peninsula communities. The Russian Orthodox Church at Old Kenai was erected in 1896. The onion dome structure is among the oldest Russian Orthodox churches in Alaska. The Russian presence in Kenai dates back to 1795. The Russians were the first to discover gold on the Kenai Peninsula in 1848. But it wasn't until nearly 50 years later that a true gold rush occurred in the area. Rumors of huge discoveries along the north coast of the peninsula brought nearly 5,000 men to the Hope Sunrise area on Turnagain Arm in 1895. Miners arrived by the boatload in Seward. Many would spend their first winter in tents and log shacks. They traveled overland on crude, muddy trails hacked through mountain passes. Several of these trails are still used today. The Resurrection Pass Trail was a major overland supply route to Hope. Today, this scenic trail through the wilderness is popular among hikers and skiers, with several simple Forest Service cabins available along the way. The Resurrection River still attracts weekend miners with gold fever. They work along the gravel banks, searching their pans for color while dreaming of the big strike. Of course, gold miners have always been big dreamers.
Hello, I'm Tom Williams. I'm the mayor of Pace Creek, Alaska. Pace Creek was created in 1984. This is the boardwalk here for Pace Creek Gold Mine. This is actually the old herbal shop. We still got the jail sign up. We use that for when we do our skits. The person we're getting ready to hang, we put them in jail before we hang them. This place became well known when we mail-ordered brides for our mining crew back in 1985. Most of them left with the brides. This here is my tool. I use it for prying, cutting. I pop open bedrock to pluck out gold nuggets. I throw it every day. I chop with it. I cut wire with it. Weighs about 3 pounds. The handle is brass. This is where I keep my imagination running rampant at. The idea with gold panning, the gold is 19 and a half times heavier what this rock and sand and gravel is. The idea is to get the rock and the gravel out of your pan. Shake it, rattle it, roll it, stir it, get that gold to drop to the bottom. And the idea is to get the junk dirt, the stuff that ain't got no money in it, get it out of the way. Then when you get down here, you got to start being real gentle with it. You just treat it like a wave coming into a beach.
The town of Hope has a year-round population of about 200 and several seasonal visitors. Most of the early gold seekers left this area, heading home in despair. Others pushed onward to the northern gold fields during the gold rush of 1898. But Hope survived. Today, this historic gold rush town is a living reminder of days gone by. While the gold rush brought settlers to the peninsula, it was another strike that brought prosperity to the region and pushed the territory of Alaska into statehood. In 1957, the newspapers announced the discovery of black gold, oil, on the Kenai. The Swanson River discovery led to the first oil rigs in Upper Cook Inlet. This is one of only 3 successful offshore oil and gas production regions in the United States. Miles of underground pipelines feed large storage tanks. Petroleum refineries are major employers in Kenai and Nikiski. Oil and gas development is the region's leading industry. Kenai is a modern city. The area is home to around 35,000. Besides oil and gas, the economy is fueled by commercial fishing. Commercial fishermen fill their boats and nets with salmon and halibut, bringing jobs and prosperity. While oil and commercial fishing provide a stable economic base, it's the peninsula's natural beauty and amazing sport fishing that makes it a favorite destination. The views of Kachemak Bay from the town of Homer are stunning. Homer is known as the end of the road. Its year-round population of 3,800 plays host to the arts and lays out the welcome mat to an onslaught of summer guests. The Homer Spit, a 5-mile-long gravel isthmus jutting into Kachemak Bay, is abuzz with activity all summer long. The state's largest small boat harbor is here. Visitors can watch deckhands from the charter fleet hang up the day's catch of halibut. The boardwalks on the Homer Spit are filled with funky shops, selling everything from tie-dyed t-shirts to the best fish and chips in the world. And no sailor worth his salt can walk past the historic Salty Dog Saloon without stopping in for his daily ration. Throughout the summer, tents and campers pop up along the beach, providing temporary housing for cannery workers, or spit rats as they're locally known. Many might consider a fish factory job unpleasant, but Alaska's fishing industry provides summer adventure for young people from all over.
I met people from all over the country, from the Philippines, and really just people who had a strong desire to be in the fishing industry. A lot of first-timers, a lot of what they call greenhorns, people who are doing it for the first time, and a lot of people who have done it for years. This is my first fishing industry experience, and I've worked on a seiner for 2.5 months, and I enjoyed it. It was hard work, but paid well, and it was an experience, that's for sure.
Just before sunup, a familiar scene at the Homer dock. These anglers are on a quest for a large, flat fish with both eyes on the right side of its head. Halibut.
All right. We're out of here. Make yourselves comfortable. Playing through.
A fleet of charter boats leaves Homer, sometimes traveling 50 miles to find these lunkers of the deep. World-class halibut fishing is found in the waters off many Kenai Peninsula communities. Important commercially, halibut are also very popular among sport fishermen.
Something eating it? No, just getting excited.
Breathtaking views and excellent fishing make for a great day on the water.
You gone?
Nope. He just didn't want to come up.
Reeling in a halibut is hard work. It's like dragging a full sheet of plywood up from the ocean floor.
Good. Yeah. Come back. Let him take it down. Now get him. Get him.
These bottom fish commonly weigh between 30 and 100 pounds, but some weigh in at 300 pounds and more.
That there is a 25-pound halibut.
A good day of halibut fishing can fill a freezer, providing a family with tasty whitefish all winter long. While Homer is at the end of the road, for many, it's where the adventure begins. All summer long, people board the ferry Danny J. Destination, Halibut Cove. This quaint community is one of Alaska's true gems. Charming houses sit on stilts. Weather-tested skiffs chug to secret fishing spots. It's the kind of place where nobody hurries, but folks keep busy all day long. These rich waters were once home to a huge herring population. In the 1920s, large canneries made this protected harbor something of a boom town. But it wasn't long before overfishing depleted the herring stocks and the canneries closed. But the locals always seemed to know where to find ample supplies of crab, shrimp, halibut, and salmon. Working the pots is part of the daily summer ritual. Each year, visitors from all over the world come to visit Halibut Cove, carrying home tales of this magic island tucked away on a far corner of Kachemak Bay. In the Dena'ina Indian language, Kachemak means great water cliffs. It's an apt description. Thousands of seabirds congregate on places like Gull Island. The air is alive with the sight, sound, and smell of these busy rookeries. Seals sun themselves on warm rocks. Used for centuries by coastal natives for food, fur, and fuel, seals are a protected marine mammal common throughout the rich waters of the Kenai Peninsula. These cautious creatures slip beneath the cold ocean waters searching for fish, crustaceans, and squid, sometimes staying submerged for an hour at a time. A secluded dock provides a fine place for an early evening siesta and allows a good look at the powerful clawed limbs that steer these graceful creatures through the deep. Their expressive faces and sensitive eyes remind us of our own ancient bonds with the sea. With its towering trees, fine fishing, abundant fur, and protected harbor, Seldovia has long been a strategic port on Lower Cook Inlet. Over the centuries, the area was inhabited by Eskimos, Indians, Aleuts, Russians, and Scandinavians. While only fragmentary evidence remains of early Native American settlements on Kachemak Bay, Russian documents from at least 1844 speak of Seldivoy, meaning roughly Herring Bay. Once the transportation and supply hub of all of Cook Inlet, by the turn of the century, Seldovia had several large canneries, employing many of the local natives, plus a large contingent of migrant fishermen. Native elder Nick Elksnit remembers the way Seldovia used to be.
Salmon was plentiful there those days. Moose was game like moose, and ptarmigan was plentiful during the winter, you know. And people had summertime within their gardens, you know, and some families, they had cow and few chickens, you know, and so you might say people who lived off the country those days, you know. Of course, everybody worked, you know. You know what my wages were? $1 a day. I worked 30 days, made $30.
The Russian Orthodox Church still stands watch over the harbor, and a few of the original buildings line the old boardwalk on Seldovia Slough. The Good Friday earthquake of 1964 was particularly cruel to Seldovia, and the town today looks very different from its days as a fishing boomtown. Summer tourism is now a pillar of the local economy. Because there is no road connecting the town to the outside world, visitors must arrive by either boat or plane. This isolation suits artist Susan Springer just fine.
I moved to Seldovia with my husband. We both wanted to be on the water. We wanted to be in a very quiet community. We wanted to find the essence of Alaska. There's a peacefulness here, and there is an orderliness, and that really clears the mind for imagining all kinds of great things. There's a lot of stimulation here in terms of the plants, the flowers, the animals. Those things all find their way into my work.
One of the best ways to travel the protected waterways of coastal Alaska is by ocean kayak. For thousands of years, kayaks were the preferred method of ocean travel for native Alaskans. A low center of gravity makes a kayak remarkably stable, even in rough seas. Modern kayaks are based closely on traditional designs, and the skilled paddler can travel several miles in a single day. Ideal for overnight trips to remote beach sites, kayaks are often seen exploring the secret coves and remote lagoons of the Kenai coast.
Little boat that could.
the emerald waters of the Kenai River. The Kenai originates high in snowy mountain ice fields, winding through lakes and canyons, across forested valleys and tundra, through villages inhabited for centuries. Its powerful currents flow year-round across the western peninsula, emptying into Cook Inlet, providing water, transportation, and food for countless generations. The Kenai River is the largest river on the peninsula. The Kenai River flows past the community of Soldotna. For 9 months of the year, Soldotna is home for around 4,000 Alaskans. In the summer, it's a supply hub for fishermen. And when the fish are biting, the population triples. Soldotna guide Larry Waltrip launches his boat every summer morning, trolling the glittering green channels of this great river. Anglers worldwide dream of hooking into a Kenai king. Unique to this single magnificent waterway, Kenai River kings are the world's largest salmon. Alert to subtle changes in water temperature and clarity, Larry uses years of careful observation and a bit of luck as he and his clients battle these powerful, elusive trophies. The largest king or Chinook salmon ever caught by a sport fisherman weighed in at 97 pounds, 4 ounces, and was caught right here in the Kenai River. Although not as large as Kenai River kings, the kings of the Kasilof River to the south make for a wonderful fishing experience. Because of the shallow water, drift boats are the preferred way to fish for Kasilof kings. Drift guides maneuver their boats by rowing against the current. While waiting for a tug on the line, these lucky anglers are soothed by the sights and sounds along the river.
What's that? All right. All right. Woo. Yeah, I think that's a keeper. What do you think, Dad? Well, you can
The slower pace and quiet surroundings of the Kasilof River make it one of the peninsula's best-kept fishing secrets, with routine king salmon landings of 30 pounds or more. Every year, millions of reds or sockeye salmon return to these waters. For a few glorious weeks, salmon fever breaks out on the Kenai Peninsula. This is the season for combat fishing. The sockeye salmon life cycle is a fascinating example of nature's genius. Salmon eggs are hatched in calm freshwater gravel beds. Soon, small fingerlings, or smolt, are feeding upon the life of the river bottom, imprinting on the scent of their birthing waters. From here, they head downstream to the sea, feeding sometimes for several years on a rich ocean diet. Beginning in early summer, streams of the Kenai Peninsula are filled with great runs of salmon. Sockeye salmon are particularly plentiful and can be seen fighting their way upstream past nets and hooks, waterfalls and rapids in an unending struggle to return to the precise location of their birth. Here they spawn, laying their eggs to begin the cycle once more. After spawning, these red salmon will die. They are a common sight in calm pools and lakes, bright red, ghostly, decaying, their life's work complete. Sockeye salmon are a great game fish. Usually caught with big, bright flies, they test even a seasoned angler's skill.
Some people say red salmon don't bite.
Their brilliant red meat is delicious. And Alaskans of all shapes and sizes spend the long summer days stockpiling a winter's supply. Whether it's a commercial set netter with $1 million in high-tech gear or a group of young boys with a dip net, everybody wants to catch a salmon. It's part of being an Alaskan. If you're not interested in fishing, you can still enjoy the Kenai River experience. These rafters hail from Oregon, California, and Louisiana.
Making their way further south. Looking for more trees? Looking for more.
Some sections of the Kenai River provide thrilling whitewater challenges, but most rafters enjoy a relaxed trip.
Been left behind and ground up. And then up above there's about, I don't know, 4, maybe 6.
As you drift down this icy green current, you can imagine those early settlers traveling the great Kenai River, their fragile vessels filled with furs and salmon.
They're all schooled up
Pristine islands beckon, and lucky rafters might see moose and bear along the riverbank.
Pools going on here at the same time. We have a different kind of raft.
The rafters are now in the Kenai National Wildlife Refuge.
Now it's getting to feel like Alaska.
The refuge is 2 million acres of lakes and rivers, wilderness and campgrounds, and its prime moose habitat. Powerful swimmers and persistent engineers, beavers are constantly reshaping the Kenai wetlands. These industrious critters keep busy damming creeks, building houses, and warning off intruders. There's perhaps no better sign of the wilderness than seeing a pair of loons on an alpine lake. Ancient folk tales claim the loon has magical powers. The distinctive feathers and lonesome call of these graceful birds make them unmistakable. With a heavy body close to the density of fresh water, this loon can slide beneath the surface with little turbulence. His streamlined shape allows him to disappear without a trace into the clear water. The early morning fog on Summit Lake presents a surreal backdrop for a midsummer's dream. Like apparitions from a medieval fairy tale, these elegant trumpeter swans glide across the mirrored waters. The trumpeters are the largest swans in the world. Nearly 8,000 of these graceful birds make their nests in Alaska. Swans mate for life and often travel together in extended families, feeding on aquatic vegetation. Magnificent birds of prey are found throughout the Kenai Peninsula. There's nothing quite like the sight of a bald eagle in flight. Migrating caribou roam the peninsula. This group is part of the Kenai herd and was photographed near the city of Kenai. Members of the deer family, caribou are the wild cousins to the domestic reindeer. Both male and female caribou have antlers. A bull may weigh over 600 pounds. During the summer, you can ride the rails to the Kenai Peninsula. It's all aboard to Seward. The railroad was originally built to service the gold fields of interior Alaska. The easy pace and awesome views make this a great way to relax as you travel through this spectacular country on your way to new adventures.
Sorry now. Nice trip. Thank you.
The city of Seward is known as the gateway to Kenai Fjords. Located at the head of Resurrection Bay, this ice-free port is the southern terminus of the Alaska Railroad. Some 3,000 Alaskans call Seward home, and thousands more spend time here during the summer. Named after William Seward, architect of Alaska's purchase from Russia, this is the place to be on the 4th of July. The 4th of July race to the summit of Mount Marathon is a grueling event for even the toughest athletes. Hundreds of runners, young and old, challenge the mud, rocks, steep slopes, and weather in a wild free-for-all held every year, rain or shine, since at least 1915. The race's origin sprang from a bar bet between two sourdoughs. Could a person run from downtown Seward up the 3,000-foot peak and back in less than an hour? Olympic ski racer Bill Spencer holds the record at 43 minutes and 23 seconds. For most, merely finishing the race is a triumph. The Seward Harbor is home to commercial fishing boats and pleasure craft, a huge coal loading facility, summer cruise ships, and container vessels that supply the cities of Alaska's interior. The boardwalk is a gathering place for locals and tourists alike.
It's you. Here. Oh, thank you.
Captain Eric Olson of Kenai Fjords Tours spends his summer guiding visitors to one of Alaska's most spectacular destinations, the Kenai Fjords. Barely out of the harbor, the boat is greeted by a playful sea otter in Resurrection Bay. Once hunted to near extinction by Aleuts, enslaved by Russian fur traders, the sea otter has made a remarkable comeback. Feasting on the abundant shellfish found in these rich icy waters, the sea otter leads a life most teenagers would envy, eating, sleeping, swimming, and preening. Kenai Fjords National Park comprises more than 600,000 acres. A day-long trip aboard a tour vessel is a great way to see a small part of this pristine wilderness. Huge trees hang from steep cliffs, and primordial rock formations jut upwards from the depths. This photogenic formation is called Three-Hole Point. Rain or shine, the crew and visitors are always on the lookout for wildlife. The fluke of a giant humpback whale hypnotizes even the jaded mariner. Humpback whales migrate to these nourishing waters from the wintering grounds in Hawaii and Mexico. They're a photographer's delight, sometimes surfacing right next to the boats. If they're lucky, visitors will watch spellbound as one of these gentle giants leaps into the air in a playful breach. Several glaciers fed by the Harding ice field flow into the Kenai Fjords. The Holgate Glacier towers 600 feet above the water. The tour boats weave their way between icebergs in the inlet, bringing their guests face to face with this giant of Mother Nature. The engines are stilled, and visitors look on awestruck as tons of ice continuously calve from this tidewater glacier. In the nearby Chiswell Islands, stellar sea lions lounge about on rocky beaches. This is a protected area where the sea lions rear their young or haul out for an afternoon nap.
Well, this is a real good view of these guys. We're going to head back towards Seward. Male will live anywhere between 18 and 24 years, the female between 26 years, whereas the female will be drawn into a head.
Overhead, 100,000 migratory seabirds nest in the protected cliffs. The crashing waves and cries of kittiwakes fill the air. As many as 20,000 tufted and horned puffins nest on these isolated rocks, nicknamed the beehives. These colorful parrots of the sea are often humorous. Their stomachs are often filled with so much fish they can only fly across the surface of the water, too heavy to actually take to the air. At any moment, the surface of the sea is broken by orcas, killer whales.
Good luck here.
Traveling in pods of family groups, these sleek hunters are frequent visitors to this coastal wilderness.
These are young animals for their food source, their fish.
Visitors cruising the Kenai fjords witness nature at its finest. It's an unforgettable glimpse of the immense, pristine coast of the southern Kenai Peninsula. More than 24 glaciers spill out of the giant Harding ice field, the huge icy plateau that feeds nearly all of the great rivers of the Kenai Peninsula. The Harding Field feeds the Exit Glacier just outside of Seward. Here, visitors can walk across the glacial moraine for an up-close look at the spectacular river of ice. Far from being static geologic formations, glaciers appear almost alive, constantly in motion, twisting, melting, grinding the rock beneath to fine dust. Large boulders at the foot of the glacier bear scars known as striations, caused by the passing ice. Glacier silt mixes with the meltwater to form frigid, silty rivers that wind their way to the sea. Like most of the world's glaciers, the Exit Glacier is receding, having moved several miles since records were first kept nearly a century ago. While slow-moving glaciers are a measure of change over decades, each season on the peninsula is marked by its own unique event in nature. Spring arrives on the wings of snow geese. Every year, around mid-April, thousands of white Siberian snow geese and other waterfowl stop on the flats near the mouth of the Kenai River. Their stay will be brief, long enough to nourish themselves for the remainder of their migration. By banding some of the birds, biologists know that these geese have come from as far away as California and Mexico. Many will nest on Wrangel Island in the Russian Far East. The snow geese are a welcome sign that summer's just around the corner. Spring is also a great time for clam digging on the peninsula. Minus tides attract all ages to the sandy beaches from Kasilof to Anchor Point. Digging clams is family fun and a great cure for cabin fever. Summer officially arrives on the peninsula with the first motorhomes. Recreation sites from Seward to Homer become home away from home for tens of thousands of excited campers. During the long summer days, wildflowers set the fields ablaze with brilliant colors. These are fireweed, common along the roadsides, dancing to the tune of the summer breeze. Alaskans know that once the fireweed loses its blossoms and great columns of geese appear overhead, the summer is almost over. Winter is a quiet time on the Kenai Peninsula, a time for running sled dogs through a forest, a time for skiing over fresh mountain snow. Winter also attracts an annual convention of sorts, a gathering of bald eagles in Homer. It's all part of the rhythm of life on Alaska's Kenai Peninsula.